What is the IT strategy for the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, NATO? How is NATO leveraging emerging technologies to enhance operational effectiveness? And what is NATO doing to make its technology infrastructure secure and resilient? I'll explore these questions and so much more with my very special guest, Manfred Boudreaux-Dehmer, Chief Information Officer for NATO. So can you start by sharing an overview of your role as NATO's Chief Information Officer and the scope of your responsibilities in supporting the alliance's mission?
Yeah, so I've got two legs, and with the two legs, I've got two mandates. So one is what we call ICT, or IT, Information Technology Coherence. And that is to look after the fact that we do IT for the NATO enterprise in a harmonized fashion. And that consists of enterprise architecture, portfolio planning, service level delivery, technology choices, that all of that happens for NATO. And with that, let me also briefly tell you what the NATO enterprise is. It's in essence the inner part of NATO, which is 57 organizations. And that consists of the international staff, the international military staff, agencies, the biostrategic commands of Allied Command Operations and Transformation, and a number of research and educational facilities that NATO has. So this is kind of the inner ring that is then surrounded by the alliance of the 32 member nations. So I'm looking at the inner part of NATO, and again, one leg that I'm standing on is ICT coherence, and then the other leg is the single point of authority for cybersecurity. So that is, in NATO speak, a CISO-like role, but we call it the single point of authority for cybersecurity.
So, Manfred, what are the key priorities for NATO's digital transformation? And I was wondering, how are you leveraging emerging technologies like AI, and well, I guess it's not emerging that much anymore, but it's evolving, and cloud computing or data analytics to enhance operational effectiveness? What are you doing in this area?
Yeah. So for digital transformation, as many organizations and businesses are going through that, for us it is a redesign from a process perspective, but also as far as technology is concerned, and people, skills, and the work that people are doing to really redefine how we do business. And our business is deterrence and defense. So we want to be better at how we defend the alliance. And one of the key cornerstones really of digital transformation for us is multi-domain operation. So for military domains, there are 5. There is air, land, sea, space, and cyberspace. And we want to combine the situational awareness, but also effects that can be achieved in those 5 military domains and harmonize that. And that's really the secret sauce for the commander to get to effects that are necessary. So multi-domain operations, being able to use information that comes from systems in the different domains, and then harmonizing that and coming up with a combined approach is very, very important to us. I think the other part of your question was, so how do we do it? How do we do it when it comes to artificial intelligence, data exploitation, cloud? So let's take cloud for a moment. We have embarked on our cloud transformation. We take that in different steps. Also, when we look at our systems and when we look at our data, we differentiate everything into things that are unclassified or restricted, or that are going into the secret part of data. And we started with the easier part first, which is really the unclassified data that we are now moving into the cloud. And we're about halfway through with a major project that we started late last year on moving the users and the applications of an unclassified system into the cloud. And so we're progressing well. We want to be done with that by the end of the year. And what follows in the footsteps of that is to take the next level of classification and moving users and applications into the cloud, which is it's going to take a bit longer to do that, but we have a good plan in place. And then Simultaneously, we're looking at a higher level of classification and how we would move that into an appropriate cloud environment that is appropriately separated from a public cloud environment. So cloud, we've got these 3 work streams that are going on. Artificial intelligence is a big topic, and it's a big topic for a lot of people, including for us. So we're looking at use cases in a variety of different spaces. One is general productivity. So at NATO, as an example, we translate a lot of documents and a lot of speeches from English to French and French to English, our 2 official languages. And that is an area where artificial intelligence can help. We also have artificial intelligence with more sophisticated systems that look at situational awareness, that put data together from a variety of different data points, where we have applied now artificial intelligence. And then, if you remember my other leg that I stand on, the cybersecurity leg, there is artificial intelligence use cases, of course, in cyberspace as well, and we've gotten into that. And then lastly, on data analytics, data exploitation, that is also a big work stream that we're focusing on. It's very tightly related to artificial intelligence. And so we're making good progress on all of these areas that are part of digital transformation and that will enable us to ultimately get to multi-domain operations.
Can I pick up on that, Manfred? I don't want to get too technical, but I'd love for you to explain a little bit more if you could. What do you mean by multi-domain?
Right. So you have 5 military operations: air, land, sea, space, and cyber. And so each one of those traditional military domains has their own set of really doctrine, rules, and systems or networks. So we have that. And of course, the air, land, and sea has been around for hundreds of years, right? And then space and cyber are the 2 domains that were added relatively recently. And also one of the other peculiarities with cyber is that it is a transversal domain, because cyber really affects all of the other domains that are more in the kinetic space. What we do is there are systems in place that deal with situational awareness or command and control of really achieving effects in each one of those domains. Together with the allies, and those systems have been around for some time. And so what we're looking at doing is combining these systems in their situational awareness and to provide command and control, or C2 capabilities that are across the different domains. So for example, if you have a particular, if you have a plane that has sends information on troop movements, you could combine that with satellite images, or you could then give the command and say that you're going to engage a vessel that is part of the sea domain, and that is then part of this whole interactive chain of situational awareness or of command and control actions. So the idea is to not have every domain act independently, and the synergy of the 5 domains working together, and for the commander to have this situational awareness across all of the 5 domains is a complete game changer.
I was wondering, what opportunities do you see for NATO to stay at the forefront of defense innovation, and where I'm going particularly in the realm of your portfolio, IT, information technology?
One of the things that governments realized, and also NATO realized a long time ago, is that the times when innovation was driven by government, that those times are over. And that was something that happened a while ago. If you think back, there was the Apollo program and the moon landing, and it gave us Teflon as a material that we use by making our breakfast every morning. So these things are it's interesting because governments are no longer actively driving innovation. So we need partners, and partners is industry. And there has been a realization over a really long time that we need to access industry and partner up with industry and with companies in the best possible way, because that is where innovation happens. And if you think about what's happening with artificial intelligence and with data analytics and cloud computing and quantum-resistant cryptography, there's companies that are out there in all of those topic areas that are important to us that are driving innovation forward. And so we have implemented a few vehicles to partner best with companies and to harness that knowledge. One thing that I want to point out that really is fostering innovation at the edge, and what's usable for NATO is DIANA. So that is the Defense Innovation Accelerator for the North Atlantic. And DIANA is a specifically set up as an incubator for dual-use technologies, so technology that can be used in the private sector as well as on the military, on the defense side, and have put particular challenges out there into the DIANA network, and then for companies to step up, access funding, access our testing facilities, and provide solutions that we can then tie into our larger capabilities. So that's an excellent way of harnessing innovation that's happening in the private industry, and that's happening sometimes with very, very small companies.
That's excellent. Yeah. I was wondering, how is NATO preparing its IT infrastructure, Manfred, to support future missions, and where I'm going, such as involving space operations or advanced autonomous systems? What are you doing in that area?
Overall, we have put more and more of our workload into the cloud, and the cloud solves a number of issues for us. I think the biggest one that the cloud solves is a risk reduction through dispersion. So just a few years ago, the thinking was in general that if you put your data into a data center and you protect it really, really well by putting the servers into a bunker, then that would be the best way of safeguarding your data. And that has proven to be not the best way. So now that we have cloud technologies, data can be dispersed and it can be moved and kept in very, very different places. And the best example is the Ukraine, because again, within, I think, 2 weeks or so after the attack in February of 2022, the Ukraine went ahead and moved their systems into the cloud. And it has been a phenomenal step and a great project in an incredible amount of time that they went through. So that's one thing is dispersion, of really using that strategically as a risk reduction mechanism. There's also a number of other things that kind of come with that. We do a lot of work in quantum-resistant cryptography. That big question is the quantum day when quantum computers would be able to decrypt currently encrypted files, when that day will be, and there's different estimates that are out there. But that's another big focus area that we go after.
This has been the Business of Government Hour, a conversation with Manfred Boudreaux-Dehmer, Chief Information Officer for the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, NATO. Be sure to join us next time for another informative, insightful, and in-depth conversation on improving government leadership and its effectiveness. Until then, subscribe, download, and listen to the entire interview at Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Audible, or on your favorite podcast app, and as always at businessofgovernment.org.